Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with Crypto Mom 2 talk show, and I want to welcome everyone to this episode. Definitely remember to like and subscribe. There's a lot of great guests coming on, especially a very special guest who's on today, and we'll talk more with him in a quick second. For those of you that are new to Crypto Mom 2, I want to share a little bit about my journey and how I got started. I am an educator, but I'm also an attorney, and I've always been curious about blockchain and cryptocurrency. And I am relatively new to this area in comparison to some others that have been in this for a number of years. I mean, my journey started about 4 years ago, and I started with investing in an altcoin and learning about ecosystems. And then I started learning more about Bitcoin mining. And, as the phrase goes, the door opened and I went down the rabbit hole because it was so fascinating to me. My major in college was science, technology, and society. And the blockchain and everything that's going on is a combination of all of this. So as a educator, also as a mom, I wanted to make sure that those who are learning about this know about it from the perspective of how to do this, as well as the career path that they can. And so that kind of ties into my special guest today. I actually met him at the Bitcoin conference 2022 down in Miami Beach. I was at one of the stages, the marathon stage in the exhibit hall, and I turned around and I saw a hat and I said, "What's that?" And then from that point forward, we've been chatting and talking about youth and crypto and everything all combined. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you for inviting me to be here, and it's nice to hear your intro as well. Crypto
Yeah.
Mom here to definitely help answer questions and help families understand interesting things. So I'm thrilled to be here.
So why don't you go ahead and explain more, Matt, about how YCC got started and what's it all about?
Okay. Well, YCC is probably still very much starting. You know, maybe like we all are every day when we pop back up here on planet Earth. There's a lot to do. So the Youth Crypto Conference is an opportunity for kind of all of us to take responsibility together to make financial literacy something of a priority. Sounds so boring, but it's actually so interesting. so so that's kind of why, right? So there's a lot of issues in the education system these days, including schools being closed. Wow, schools are closed. Administrative budgets are through the roof. Well, teachers, I don't know, teachers are, like, I think maybe we were discussing earlier, they have a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So where does our community kind of like take initiative? And that being maybe like either all of us, the global community, or certainly the crypto community. Well, the crypto community can take initiative on our own. We're already borderless. We're already, counter trend. So we can go ahead and take this interesting and maybe somewhat overlooked subject of financial literacy, or somewhat excluded subject of financial literacy, and make it something we're excited about. So that's what we're up to.
So I know that your story is very interesting. Why did you want to create the Youth Crypto Conference? What kind of motivated you to do that?
Interesting question. I think the motivations here are seeing things that we all see almost daily now, which is these crypto hacks, or your Luna is your stable coin is nothing related to a stable or a coin anymore. The words that are being used on you are very confusing. So I think the need kind of comes out of, obviously, everyone, probably, if you're an investor in any way, you have a lot of responsibility on yourself to be smart with your resources. And the truth is, you often lose. So we want to kind of like level the playing field. And so that's some of it. and just be a part of a solution, just be a part of a good solution. So I think, my own stories are just kind of that, just, a lot of different fun research within the community about crypto hacks going way back into the very beginning, before Bitcoin was even a thing. There were some of the largest, most absurd crypto chaos and hacks going down that cost people billions and billions of dollars. And that's still going on today. So we have a chance here, to kind of like do that together. So I have a little bit of exposure to that history. And I think a lot of people that are new now also have a little bit of experience in this chaos. And so I think when we recognize it together as it being important, I think, so my story is just one of hundreds of thousands probably.
So I know that the Youth Crypto Conference is going to be happening in June, and this is the first of many conferences that you're going to be hosting. What are you hoping to achieve with this conference? If people want to get connected and do something, there is a website, the YCC 2222.com. I will also make sure that it is embedded below in the blog. So if you don't have paper and pen, you are able to, on the video side, you can see it. On the audio side, we'll make sure that you have access to it. But what will people be able to enjoy during that conference, and when is it?
Oh, great questions. So great opportunity to plug, I guess, the city of Austin, Texas, which is our beautiful background here, which is bluebonnets. It's the state flower of Texas. So during, June, the week of June, let's just say 7th through 12th, it's called a long weekend, a very long weekend. There's just a lot of things going on in the city of Austin, centered around Consensus, which is an annual conference. So people who are in the area obviously should come out to Austin, Texas, and check it out. Right? There's so much to do. You don't need a big expensive ticket to this particular conference. You can just enjoy the city of Austin and participate in a number, probably hundreds of side events that are going on, parties, educational events of all kinds. So our group has an educational event going on, so primarily focused on the future of let's say financial literacy, which is a focus on the youth. So at this particular event, youth are definitely invited, families are invited, young people are invited. That's at the Youth Crypto Conference. So there's an Eventbrite link. You can Google Youth Crypto Conference and kind of find out what we're up to. But the opportunity to join us is basically to become a part of our planning group. It's really to become a part of our core team as we kind of as we like roll out the principles of our industry, right? So we together, including with Crypto Mom, one of our favorite advisors and friends, is we're together setting some of the guidelines. So that's what this particular event is going to be about. We're going to be meeting, we're going to be planning for the larger Youth Crypto Conference. It's going to be spring break 2023. We're going to be kind of organizing our committees and our teams. We're going to be enjoying, probably healthy food and a great environment in Texas. And then definitely we are going to be meeting hundreds, maybe thousands of people around Texas, around Austin that are going to be there. So just it's a big networking event, but in particular with us, it's a planning opportunity. It's an opportunity to get involved with people and be a part of a team, kind of not just to sit there and listen, but also to join us.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's action oriented. I also like what you're sharing about the fact that we need to be thinking about financial literacy. I know these shows are not financial advice, but the thing is that as youth grow up, they're hearing about currency, they're hearing about how to make financial decisions, and there's traditional decisions, and then there's the alternative decisions. And I think that financial literacy needs to encompass all of that, so individuals can make the choices that they want in an educated way to decide, okay, do I want to put a few dollars into this or a few dollars into that? And you can only make that decision if you're exposed to it and if you know about it. So I think it's really important that with the youth, from every background, that we provide that type of education so everyone can make an informed decision. Are you finding that, I know you were talking to me about hackathons and other ways that, youth can get involved. Why did you feel like there was a gap and that the Youth Crypto Conference was going to help fill that gap?
So let's discuss the quote unquote gap, right? So this is like a concept of, like a vacuum being that needs to get filled, right? And trading, it's an example of filling a gap in between two different prices. But in the case of, where YCC fits in this time in history, is that the access to this banking system, if you want to call it that, the access to this economic system, the access to Bitcoin, these are they're pretty easy to access. Okay. So I can remember being young and having to go to the bank and go to the teller window. And I was young at the time. I worked from a very young age. So, we would go to the bank and, they kept some of the money and I had to have an account and I had to remember my numbers and I had to, it was very professional. It was very professional. Okay. The
Yeah.
bank. And this is before all the glass was between you and the teller, or at least it depends on where you live. But well, the idea now is that basically anybody can access this. Just absolutely anyone. So that creates a tremendous void or gap in the world of let's just call it procedure, since you're a lawyer over there. So, there could be a particular procedure that people used to follow in order to access financial instruments, right? A very lengthy procedure, in fact, including things that involve certifications to trade with leverage for big banks. And well, there's always been a lot of ways to throw your money away in this life, but now they are just so much easier. So I think that's probably the interesting, maybe market opportunity, but it's also the educational gap that we want to address, which is there's just hundreds and probably millions upon millions of people just making really bad choices today. So, and why? Was it a part of the procedure? Was it a part that they got access to something they shouldn't access? None of those are things that I think we want to discuss at this time, but we just want to discuss the overall ecosystem and figure out where we're all going. We love the open access. We don't want to discriminate against people young or old from having access to the system. But what we want to do is just level the playing field a little bit. So that's it. I think there's just so many people. Just imagine every day, 9 and 10-year-olds opening up bank accounts, which is awesome. Participating in the economy, awesome. However, in this case, they're doing it in the shadows. And I don't know, maybe it's 9 or 10-year-olds, but they're certainly out there. They're probably doing better than most of you adults listening on your NFT portfolio. But the point is, not only the entrepreneurs in the United States, but also just everyone is being hamstrung by, let's just say lack of focus on such an incredible industry. It's probably being brought about for that reason, to give certain people the chance to get ahead and give everyone a chance to get in position. Meanwhile, let the chaos ensue. Who knows? But that's what it is these days. A lot of chaos. So we'll address that. That's the.
I one of the things that I was really attracted to with the Youth Crypto Conference is the idea that youth can be decision makers and can participate in this to kind of figure out where the next level of education might need to come, both from the technical side as well as the other side. And like you said, there's all different, just like with adults, there's all different levels of knowledge base. There are those that are just getting started. There are those that have been around for a while. And you're right, those that might have gotten started 5 years ago might have been in their teens and now they're in their early 20s. And they're doing really well because they, have been exposed to the tech side, early on. So while those that didn't grow up with the internet, now Web3 and all those new layers, you might have to struggle. So I I want to make sure that everyone knows that this conference is not just this year, it's going to be every year. And the website that will be in the blog below, definitely like and subscribe to that so you can keep up with different events, both in the Texas area as well as other areas, because you have a Telegram group and you have members in that group that are from around the world. So what other countries do you have that are are also excited to kind of do something for the youth in their area as well?
Hmm. Well, it is that time, right? It's that time for people, no matter where they are, really, no matter what industry they're in, hopefully to look out for all these young souls that have been left out of the school system for 3 years, right? So no matter where we are, I think that people are kind of stirring up an interest in this education angle where we can take it into our own hands just a little bit. So that just has to do with the education angle. On the side of like crypto events, right? First of all, globally, no matter where you are, you can definitely find a way to, stir up an interest in financial literacy in your community. But as it relates to what we're doing, right? Definitely annual conferences with our sort of core community right now that's kind of leading it per se, which is going to be in potentially going to be in Nairobi, which is in Kenya, it's the capital, and in the Philippines. So Asia and Africa, along with the United States. So that's kind of what our group is doing. There's interest, I think, from a lot of other places, including just making sure that we're able to provide a voice for this initiative, or provide some energy, some psychic energy for this initiative that we're doing. And that can take place at conferences all over the world. So one of the things that we do is we can send our team, which can be a young interviewer or any of us, and we ask certain questions to the people that are at all these conferences. Davos just ended, I think, last week.
Yep.
What a what a world we live in. It's an interesting time. The year, what is this year? It's 2022. Yeah, so it's an interesting time in the world. So no matter where you are, right, there's a chance probably to join up with this initiative, but our group will be hosting things very strategically in certain places, some of which will be Florida, Texas coming up, and then Africa and Asia on the books, but Europe as well. We're a big global family. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I do want to mention to everyone who's listening that one of the things that I recently did, and Matt knows about it as well, is I wrote a book called The Bitcoin Cinderella. And anyone who's listening, you can just go to bitcoincinderella.com to get a copy. My hope is with this book, it's going to be, it's a true Cinderella story, but it incorporates a lot of the technical terms. So that way, those that are young as well as those that are young in spirit, even though older in age maybe, can learn more about the blockchain and have fun learning using the fairy tale. But so definitely, reach out to me. It's actually translated into Spanish. It just hasn't been launched yet in Spanish, but it's going to be, you talk about Africa. I spoke with actually someone this morning in Kenya, and he's looking at trying to translate it into Swahili. And it's going to be also in French and German and other languages. So always English and then the other language. So definitely for those that are trying to get a storybook that you can read aloud with your family, to have a conversation about what does it all mean, and then even reach back out to me to ask more questions, like, I don't understand this, what does this mean? Because this is the first of many books, and if you don't understand something, that means I need to redefine it in the next book, so that way others can also understand it better. Because we're all teachers, whether or not we have that hat, we're all helping educate those that we come in contact with. And I think it's really important to have the tools so we can do that. So we can kind of navigate in a more friendly and wiser way. So Matt, any last moment things or thoughts that you have? I know you're going to be at the Youth Crypto Conference in June, which is just next week in Austin, but I know that there are going to be other things, on the plate. And Any last minute thoughts that you'd like to share?
I would like to maybe take just a brief opportunity to talk about inflation. And
Sure.
since we've got you here, an author, with a project related to Bitcoin. So it's funny how fast time goes. If you
Yeah.
watch the news, you can remember just a matter of months ago that inflation was going to be transitory, and mm, it's being hidden maybe by a bunch of things, right? But everybody, if you get down and ask, everyone knows it's monetary policy that's driving inflation right now. So, again, it's the year 2022, and we're here at the beginning of the summer. It's a very interesting time. I think that getting yourself into the world of, let's just say, like, limit, just the ideas of currency and exchange of value that have to do with something that isn't going to be printed up by special and handed out to special interest groups on our planet, something that people can come together around at an individual to individual basis, no matter where they are. All the things we said earlier, all the things I maybe mentioned about the gap in the world, about how people can get access to these new financial ways to lose all their money. Well, they can also get access to Bitcoin no matter where they are, right?
Yeah.
And to something that has, a lot of fundamentals that are so important, whether or not it leads us to the bright future that everybody wants it to or not. It's got fundamentals that are very important to learn about. So if you find yourself as a unwanted or bystander to the catastrophe of inflation unfolding around you, take this opportunity to learn a little bit. You're here in the story anyway. You're in the story right now. If you go to the grocery store, if you drive a car, or if you're in a place where you can't afford to buy land or to live, right? So you're in this story where value is just being kind of like, I don't know, value is being very distorted. So it's everyone for themselves out there. Get yourself educated, find a good community, right? Definitely join up with us. We got great people involved, like Jacqui as well. So that's maybe my last note. It's a fun time to be alive. Yeah, I'm glad
It's
to be here.
definitely an interesting time to be alive. I think there's a lot of possibility and opportunity, but like with everything, individuals have to take the first step to educate themselves. And education is not always easy. You do have to discriminate as to what you're reading and what you're learning, because not all information is true. And so that's the only thing I would say as you do your research about cryptocurrency, about blockchain. Make sure that you can verify it from multiple sources, because if the information that you get, you know, uh, you can't find them on a variety of sources, then it might not be fully true. And so that's where the challenges come. That's why it's important to belong to a variety of organizations, so you can kind of hear what's going on within the marketplace, because again, and I say marketplace from the blockchain marketplace because it's a whole ecosystem. So but it is important to do your own research and then reach out to those in the community as well to ask questions, because I have always had mentors teaching me. I still have mentors who are helping me. Yeah, I know Matt is really great in the coding and other areas, and there are things that I have no clue, and I've been able to ask him, and he's been able to simplify it so I can understand it. And there are others that have other skill sets. So we're all here to help each other. So definitely reach out. That's what I love about the community, is that everyone is really reaching out to help everyone. And through everyone holding each other's hands, we all kind of rise and support each other. And that's, I think, what the Youth Crypto Conference is all about as well, because we're teaching kids and young youth not just about what blockchain is, but also how to communicate and how to interact with each other. And I think that's really important, because that's where we build a world that's linking each other together and respecting each other. There's a lot of important messages.
That's right. Hey, on the note of community and linking, we all met in Florida, and we were trying to convince Jacqui to come to Texas. You couldn't make it. So when are your fans gonna see you out there again? What conference are you gonna go to? Where are you gonna be?
So I appreciate your asking. I'm actually heading to California and Los Angeles at the end of July. I'm going to be actually speaking at an NFT conference, NFT Expoverse, which is July 29th, 30th, and 31st. And I'll probably be a moderator on some other panels as well, but I know the one that I'm at least initially assigned to is Mapping the Metaverse. And I'm really excited about that because for me, the idea that even that the metaverse can be mapped is just blows my mind. I mean, for me, that's not a possibility, but that's what they
Mm.
titled it. I think it's infinite.
So we're gonna find you. We're gonna find you at the expo. We're gonna interview you, my friend. Catch up with all the fun things you've been doing. But definitely a pleasure to be here today. For
Yeah,
sure.
thank you so much. And for everyone who's listening, definitely like and subscribe. And I will definitely have all the different websites and links that I mentioned below in the blog. So you can come back and connect over to the crypto conference, as well as get your own copy of the Bitcoin Cinderella and the multiple languages that it's going to be. And if you have questions, definitely reach back out and ask, because every question is a good question. So as I always say, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all connected. We're all part of one world, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.